So, I think it was that fight or flight instinct that made my body produce the milk necessary to feed the stranded wolf cub. You know what I mean? Oh, are we starting? Hey guys, sorry about that. Don't pay any attention to that. Welcome to another episode of the Differently Wired Show, episode 9, for which we don't have a title yet. Oh, wait, no, that's Star Wars. Episode 9. Anyways, welcome, guys. I'm your friendly neighborhood Simpsons kin, your host, Max Darrett. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode. And as always, and as per usual, I have as my co-host, the guy that actually does most of the work around here. I just do all the technical crap and ask all the obvious questions, John Tucker. John, what's going on?
I'm having a great time on episode number 9. Loving to get into this topic of addictions to all kinds of stuff, especially video games.
Yeah, hopefully with this topic we can find a way to use language that's a little bit more inclusive to you, because I know that the whole video game culture isn't necessarily your thing, as we unfortunately established on last week's episode.
If it's more sophisticated than checkers, you're going to have to translate, right?
Well, can you do chess? Can you at least do chess?
Almost.
Okay. I think we'll be fine. Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started with that main topic, as we just briefly alluded to, I just got a couple of house cleaning things to do, as we usually do. First of all, we have a Facebook page. If you're not liking it, why aren't you liking it? I mean, you don't even have to, really use Facebook that much or interact. Just like the page. Tells the Facebook algorithm that our content is worth indulging in. Tells them that, hey, we're just a couple dudes that want to help people that are differently wired. So if you want to support us there, make sure you go into the description box of this stream. You'll find a link to the Facebook page. Just go and like us there. And there's actually utility to using the Facebook page. You can message us directly. We usually respond to you pretty quickly. If you have any particular questions in respect to your own issues with mental health or autism or anything with the show, we usually stay on top of that stuff. And also, as by popular demand, we do have a Discord. And don't let the picture that you see on screen right now fool you. I know it looks pretty bland and empty. Don't worry. We actually have over 200 people in the Discord server right now. It's a very, very positive atmosphere. People are getting along very, very well. No complaints, no trolling. It's actually kind of amazing that things are going so swimmingly over there. And if you go over there, things you can do, you can actually submit suggestions for videos that you want me to cover, whether they have to do with mental health or autism or with video games, the other stuff that I do on my channel. You can suggest stuff like that. Also, if you have suggestions for the server, there's a text chat that you can put recommendations in there. I know it doesn't show that on the screen right now, but it is there. So anyways, yeah, just go there. There's a couple of other perks to joining the Discord server, which I'll get into a little bit later in the show. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's go on to our main topic, whoa, that's not the main topic. Damn it. I forgot to make a thumbnail that says what the main topic is. So it has, John, you can't see this, but it says what to do during meltdowns right now. So
yeah, I can. We could do that again if you like.
No. No, I'm not going to have a meltdown over this. Anyways, guys, you know what? Just because we don't have the thumbnail right now, I'll just put the live chat in front of me so everybody can... People are laughing at me in the chat. All right. No, the main topic of today's show has to do with video game addiction. I'm sorry that I screwed up. It's been a long last couple of weeks, guys. I've been in the middle of moving. Give me a break. Hi, wholesome EV lover. You are wholesome if you are an EV lover. Aunt NB, Alina de Howler, enjoying Incubus. I love these names. So, video game addictions. I chose this topic in particular because the last couple of weeks I've been heavily into video games, especially because of the success of one particular video on my channel that I released just over a month ago called The Most Profound Moment in Gaming. And people have been recommending that I do videos on various other different types of games that have profound moments. I recently just released one on my channel yesterday called Soma, Story Explanation and Analysis. Seems to be receiving some pretty decent attention. And there will be more to come after that. But anyways, in the middle of just thinking about video games, analyzing them, I thought, hey, it might be a good time to make video games the main topic of one of these shows because, video games and autism tend to be I don't want to say comorbid, but they tend to go hand in hand. I have my own stories of video game addiction, which I shall share in a moment. But first of all, I just want to sort of establish how common a thing this is and sort of what types of scenarios tend to be quite common when it comes to video game addiction. And to start things off, I just want to turn to John. I'm somebody, we've talked for the past couple of years. You understand my problems with video game addiction. As far as the ones that you understand about me, do you see sort of common threads with other people? Have you seen rather extreme examples? Maybe just sort of speak to that.
I have seen some extreme examples. I've had and have clients who uh, are pulled to playing a game, involved in the game, and they kind of try to resist it. It's like it's a trap they fall into. Uh, so they will, it's like closet drinking. In some cases, they will play games all night and they will pretend to their loved ones they're not. And they will kind of be at it all the time and they wake up in the morning blurry eyed. So that's kind of really extreme. I have other folks who tell me, I'm not addicted. I just spend every spare moment playing.
Yeah.
Every moment.
It's like
every moment.
It's the equivalent of being a functional alcoholic.
Kind of. But then there's an interesting phenomenon going on where people are recognizing in my client group that they actually, it's not quite like an addiction. It's like avoiding the pain of something else. It's like avoiding homework. It's avoiding the misses. It's avoiding, I don't know, something that's painful and causing anguish.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a whole variety of things that pull people into. Here's the problem. Once they get in, they very often lose the ability to just pop out. Now, some games are designed to keep you there or else. And some of them not, but that's a place to go. So what happens when you're differently wired, you'll tend to follow along whatever thing flows well and is like engaging, so you can lose yourself in these things for quite a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. There are video games where the production designers have actually spoken to the fact that yes, in the process of making our games, we've used psychological testing to determine how we can make our games more addictive. One in particular that comes to mind, I recall, is Destiny. I'm sure you haven't heard about this, John.
Absolutely.
Oh, you've heard about Destiny?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, you haven't heard about Destiny? Okay, it's a first-person shooter game where you go around shooting aliens. But I remember playing a lot of it, and it's not a very good game. But the thing is, the core basic gameplay of just shooting was remarkably good and remarkably addicting. And you can see that, hey, if we can hook gamers on this, they'll look past all the flaws and they'll just. It's sort of Destiny is sort of the equivalent of. Being starved and, sitting below a leaking pipe and just and just enjoying the little bits of goodness that come to you. And it was effective in that way. That's why I played it as much as I did. And the Destiny 2 came out and they continued to do this. And I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? This is stupid. So I stopped playing it. But aside from that, in respect to my own personal video game addictions, just to speak to what you said about how it can give you an escape from real life, just a way to avoid doing things, and how you'd spend every hour of every day playing it. Oh man, the games that I can think of that have taken the most time out of my life are World of Warcraft, which you must have heard of World of Warcraft, right, John?
No.
You've never heard of World of Warcraft?
No, games are just something that people bring to me in their conversations.
Wow.
Okay.
I
actually, I wouldn't know how to begin to look at games, except I'd go to Google and put in MOBA or something.
That's really interesting, because I would have just assumed, like, even for people that aren't video gamers, they must have heard of something like World of Warcraft. It's a staple of the medium. Like, anybody who's ever watched a movie knows what The Godfather is, right? Even though they haven't seen it. Or everybody that's ever read a book has heard of 1984, The Great Gatsby.
I think the world of games is a little different from television and movies, because it has a clientele. Now, granted, it's a large group of people, A lot of people are into games, but they have their own language. They have their own um, their own jargon,
Mm,
their own body of knowledge. That if you're outside that body of knowledge, you're really quite far outside it.
right. Yeah, I suppose you're right. And plus, it's a relatively new medium, especially the culture of gaming, which has really taken off in the last 20 years due to the internet. So, yeah, I understand that. But, anyways, World of Warcraft. I'll sort of explain it to you, John, what it was. What it is, it's a giant world filled with magical creatures where you can be an elf or a dwarf or a human, or you could be like these walking beasts with pig heads. I can't remember exactly. The Tauren, that's what they were called, the Tauren, I think. And you go around, you complete quests, and depending on what quests you take and the prestige level of the quest, you can get certain items that are of varying quality. And it's so rewarding, and plus the communities that you belong to are remarkably welcoming and remarkably friendly, which is surprising considering the stereotype of gamers is that they tend to be very competitive and very angry, which depending on what type of game you play is quite true. But with World of Warcraft, God, it is the digital form of cocaine. And that sounds like an exaggeration, but speak to anybody who's ever played it, and they'll confirm that. It's one of the greatest games ever made, and it's so much fun. But the problem is, you have to put so much time into it in order to feel like you're accomplishing something. And when you accomplish something, you feel like you accomplished something really great.
One of my
Yeah.
one of my clients told me not long ago that this particular game he plays, it takes 1,000 hours before you don't suck at it.
Well, which game is that?
It was a MOBA, Dota, something.
Oh, Dota. Yeah, I've. Well, see, you know some of the lingo. There you go.
Well,
MOBA.
this is like last week, right?
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, Dota. What is a MOBA? It's a mobile online battle arena. I think that's what it is. I've never.
Multiplayer online battle arena.
There we go. Yeah, yeah. I've never played.
I'll get you straight on this stuff.
Thank you, John. See, this saved me from myself. Yeah, MOBA. I never played MOBAs. I never really liked the top-down perspective when it comes to games, and the learning curve, where, like you says, it takes you 1,000 hours before you get good at it. But yeah, those games tend to be quite addicting too, especially the ones where you have to pay extra money to sort of
Well,
increase
with this particular version, there's penalties if you leave the game before the game is done. You know, you queue up, you sign on, you have to stay in the game.
Yeah.
And then when that round or session, whatever it's called, is done, you queue up again, and then you go on again, and you can't leave.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of interesting, the various psychological tricks and motivations they use to keep you involved in the game.
Yeah, it's like, come on, you can play one more game before you go to bed, or you can play one more game before you go eat dinner. And then after, sooner or later, what happens is, even though you tell yourself just one more game, it's 4 hours later, and you haven't gotten any sleep, and you have to go to work in just a couple hours.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Yeah, and that's yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just as we're talking about, I'm thinking of an old movie. I don't know, 1970s or something. Jack Nicholson, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Some of you folks must have heard of that.
Yeah.
It's a classic, beautiful movie. There's one scene in where the chief, who's on the ward with Murphy, talks about his father, who was an alcoholic, and he says, my father didn't drink the bottle. The bottle drank my father.
Mm.
And when I'm thinking of video game addiction, look, if you play a game and you're sort of in control of your time, that's not an addiction. It's a pastime. It's a habit. It's fun. But when the bottle drinks you and you can't get to sleep and you can't get up and you can't get your work done and you drop out of school, I've had a few of those because of it, then it's kind of more of a problem than fun.
Yeah,
it's kind of wrecking your life.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it seems like in order for people to overcome video game addiction, you sort of have to be prone to how these things can negatively affect your life first before you can actually start to move away from it. Otherwise, you could just flat out refuse it, and then you don't have to deal with the problem.
Well, the other thing that I'm noticing is that it's no good if somebody coming up to a gamer and saying, naughty, naughty, don't do that.
Mm.
That's not going to work. Like the person who's involved in this has to kind of replace that activity with something else, maybe wean off a little bit. Whatever kind of, whatever motive or whatever way they have of changing the way they relate to their world, they have to decide. They have to be in charge, because the magic of games is that you are in charge of stuff. And if you're differently wired, it's like magic, wonderful. Here is a place that you can control something. You can control space. You're in the driver's seat. You got the stick or whatever, the buttons in your hand. You're doing something. And if you're differently wired and you've had a rough time in your life, a lot of stuff is out of control. So this is like a nice, happy thing that you can be engaged in a productive way. So it's very seductive. I can understand that.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you bring up there, John. The one thing that I try to explain to everybody, or especially my parents who have given me hell for some of my video game liking tendencies, is that what video games do, unlike real life, is they give you a set of challenges and you figure out, and you can figure out how to do them. And then you could see where the end goal is, and you can get there with enough persistence, right? Whereas like real life, you can put a lot of effort towards a lot of things. You actually have to put a lot of labor instead of just mental effort in order to advance in real life, and sometimes it doesn't always pay off, right? Mm-hmm. Which is very, very different from a video game.
So the video game has sort of a built-in sense of justice and fair play. If you do this, this happens. It's not. But in real life, you can do everything just right, do everything, play the game, and you trade. The bottom drops out of your world. It's not your fault. You didn't do it. You were misunderstood, misinterpreted. Serendipity came in and beat you. So it seems to me the game is attractive because it has a sense of assurance and justice built into it.
And also in respect to the whole differently wired thing, when it comes to having autism, the great thing about video games is that it engages and relaxes all of your senses. So you're not constantly thinking about the trials and tribulations that you deal with in everyday life. Rather, you're focused on a screen, so that's your visual senses. Your ears are attuned to the game's music and the sounds of potential enemies and stuff like that. Your hands, your touch, are attached to the the controller. And unfortunately, we're not at the point where we can smell games. I mean, we tried that once with smell-o-vision, and it was stupid. So hopefully they can perfect VR first or something. But anyways, it's a soothing experience, and I can understand why people with autism tend to get addicted to it. Even to this day, even though I'm sort of, might seem to everybody that I'm downplaying playing video games and enjoying them. No, I don't. I play a lot of video games. The thing is, it's just over the last few years, I've had to get to a point where I can put aside video games and realize where the true accomplishment is. Instead of I have to realize that when I'm playing a video game and I get a trophy or I get a special item or something like that, or I get a prestigious designation, that doesn't translate to real life. I mean, I realized, hey, all the effort that I put into this game, and while you can get a sense of accomplishment from it, at the end of the day, it's a lot of persistence and a lot of annoyance to accomplish something truly great in a game. But the problem is, there's not going to be an article on CNN the very next day because you managed to get a horse in World of Warcraft when you reach level 40. That's a really deep nerdy cut for you guys. But when I realized, hey, I can get the same sort of meaningful rush when it comes to the stuff that I do outside of gaming, that I was able to find a good balance between actual work that I do in real life and being able to set aside an hour or two for games whenever I had the spare time, and it doesn't consume my life. So
sounds like a win.
Yeah. So John, when it comes to the people that you've spoken to that have had video game addictions. Have you helped any of them to overcome them? Have you helped them to manage it? And if so, what types of techniques have you used or recommended?
Okay. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. The
Hmm.
game is too powerful. Where it hasn't worked at all is if mom and dad are screaming at, my client all the time. What happens is there's a kind with you when you're differently wired, you need safe places. And one of the safe places is that you will resist stuff that seems like nonsense to you, and you'll be hard and fast in your resistance. So if somebody says you must do this, something in you says, no, I'm not doing that. And you won't. So if people are beating you over the head to get you to stop doing this thing, that will actually make your resolve a little stronger. So how I work with people is we make that not a big issue. Like it's your choice. You want to play this much, you want to do this much work, okay, do that much work. We work on an individual schedule that the client decides, okay, I need to play games. I got to get rid of this problem, and I enjoy it. It relaxes me. I want to do it this much. Okay, go ahead. What do you want to do the other times? Well, I'm going to cut back on video games because I want to work up this other thing. I want to get this other habit going. Okay, so we work on the little by little strategy as opposed to it's good and bad. But speaking of good and bad, something just occurred to me that makes us very attractive to differently wired folk. And that is in games, good and bad are clearer. Evil is this, a monster's over here. This is bad. You get rid of that. These are good. These are bad. So differently wired folk, my clients at least, have an innocent sense of justice. Very often they're not tricky and trying to get stuff out of people. They've been beat up so much very often that they're very authentic and honest. And so I think the video games really appeal to that because you know how we like heroes that are good and and villains are bad and they're vanquished. That's kind of neat and clean. Not like the world outside. The world outside, it's not clear who's the good guys and who's the bad guys. Just look at politics in Ottawa today. Who's
Yeah,
good and bad, right?
right.
Who's good and bad? It's like, oh my God.
Unless you're talking about
Well,
North Korea, where it should be clear. But anyways.
yeah, it should be clear, right? But when you look at our real life leaders, oh my goodness, how often do we feel betrayed by them? So, I mean, video games is much clearer.
Hmm.
So that's appealing too.
Um, One thing that I'll recommend as far as trying to overcome video game addiction before we wind this topic down and move on to the mailbag. In respect to my time with World of Warcraft, I've only subscribed to it twice, and when I did, I played both times a whole bunch. I think the first time I subscribed was right before Wrath of the Lich King came out, and the second time was when Cataclysm came out. And it got to a point where I was playing the game, and I just realized I came to a moment of clarity, like my come to Jesus moment. And I said to myself, okay, if I keep playing this game, it's going to compromise all my friendships, all my job prospects, and any sense of personal development that I have that I want to accomplish. And so I realized my the cooler side of my head prevailed, and I realized, okay, I got to cancel my subscription, otherwise I'm never going to get anything done. Once you come to the realization, once you become conscious of the fact that the video game, the longer that you play it, it's going to make leaving it a whole lot more difficult. And if you start right now, it's going to be a whole lot easier, and you can do something a whole lot more meaningful with your life. You can do it. It becomes so easy. And especially if you have autism like myself, and you're looking to get out of the routine of playing a video game, once you establish a new routine where you're, I don't know, doing something like a hobby that's productive, or hell, even taking your love of video games like I did and turning it into something that you can share with other people, like I did with my YouTube channel, that's one thing you can do. Once you start a new routine, you'll find yourself going entire days without playing video games, which is something that I find myself doing not so much in the last week or so, but in the last couple of months, I've been playing a whole lot less video games because I've just become so busy with stuff, what with my job and with YouTube and with moving to a new house. It just doesn't occur to me that I have to play video games. That need is gone. So once you start that routine and your mind isn't constantly going back to the need to play video games, then you're set. Now, obviously, it's difficult for some people. There are unique cases for everybody, and we'll be happy to address those unique cases if you guys want to bring them to our attention. And speaking of bringing them to our attention, wow, that's probably the best segue I've ever done. Anyways, we have the mailbag segment. Uh, Sorry for patting myself on my back. It's one of my favorite pastimes. It's why I got scars. Anyways, if you ever want to email us and be a part of the mailbag segment, make sure you send in your questions to the email that you see on screen, which is maxdarrett@yahoo.ca. We've been staying on top of them pretty well so far, so don't feel afraid to send them in. They're coming in slowly but surely, and we've been getting to them pretty quickly. Although, if you want to have a question answered during the live show, if you're watching us live right now, you can submit them on Twitter using the hashtag differentlywired. Or if you want to guarantee that your question is read at the end of the live show, use the super chat function that you see below in the YouTube chats. That way it's highlighted for us and it also supports the show. Anyways, moving on to the very first question, and this question comes to us from Devin S. And Devin S. writes, I have Asperger's syndrome and I'm proud of it, but anyway, I have the mindset of a bitter old man, yet talk to people as if I haven't left middle school, meaning I get excited over little things and have the emotions of a middle schooler. I take things personally, but it's more extreme for some reason and I don't know why. What does it mean and what do I do about it? Well, I would tend to say that you seem pretty totally fine because a lot of the things that you're describing about yourself, you're describing about myself. See, I tend to get excited over little things too. Like, for example, yesterday was Shrove Tuesday. And for anybody who knows what that means in terms of, what is it, a Catholic tradition? I think.
Generally Christian church, maybe even more.
Oh,
More than
okay.
Catholic.
Yeah. I guess because I'm not exactly religious, I probably shouldn't celebrate it, but I'll just say that I'm a cultural Christian and move on with that. Because it was Shrove Tuesday yesterday, anybody who's a Christian or Catholic knows that means that you have pancakes for dinner. So I had pancakes for dinner last night, and it was delicious, and I loved it. And it was a small thing. Small things like that tend to just brighten my day entirely. You know, if I get a nice comment from somebody on YouTube or a nice message or email through Twitter, it's something that sustains my entire mood for the entire day. So if that sort of thing is common for you in your life, Devin S., I wouldn't worry about it too much. As far as having the emotions of a middle schooler or taking things personally, look, those, as far as having the emotions of a middle schooler, as long as it's not immaturity or it gets to the point where you're not able to interact with other average adults, then it would be a problem then. But if you have the emotions of a middle schooler where you tend to just be excited by life or excited by abnormal things, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I see. I would have to have more detail in respect to your situation. And I know you've been messaging me on Facebook and through my email, so don't hesitate to continue this conversation. I'd love to know more. As far as being a bitter old man, well, sometimes I feel like I'm a 50-year-old inside of a 25-year-old's body. At least that's what everybody, including my parents, tends to tell me. But, these are things that are not unique to people who have AS. It's something that we all deal with, and it's all stuff that we struggle to overcome throughout the course of our lives. So don't feel too bad about it. Just always keep working at it. Just make sure that you're surrounded by good people that try to elevate you out of your bitterness and resentment at times, such as by joining my Discord. Shameless plug. John, I'm sure you've dealt with people that tend to be quite bitter.
Yeah, we work through, in this case, we tend to work through the various details, case study kind of approach. Somebody gets on your nerves, okay, let's work on that. Let's see a different way to do it. But as you were reading Devin S.'s work, I thought of John Kabat-Zinn, who is famous for his mindfulness meditation tapes. Now, he has a body scan, and I'm wondering if emotions are kind of extreme and kind of out of control. I'm wondering if the mind and the body are not in sync. I'm just thinking out loud. I haven't tried this with anybody, but I've suggested it once or twice. And I'm thinking like this half-hour body scan thing kind of puts your mind at ease and you in touch with your body. So it's a way of doing mindful meditation, which actually might be useful, Devin, in your case, for allowing you to stop thinking hard about stuff and let it just sort of flow through. And it might actually bring the extremes of your age acting out a little more together for you. It's a weird suggestion, but it just occurred to me.
Yeah, no, it seems like an odd suggestion, but I've seen the benefits and experienced some of the benefits of mindfulness and meditation. Shout out to a friend of mine named Marcus, who's one of the moderators at my Discord server, who recommended that I listen to a tape in particular by a guy named Sam Harris. You know who he is, right, John?
Oh yeah, he's very famous and well thought of in this world.
Yeah, exactly. And he got me to listen to one of those things. And while it didn't really have that much of an effect, it did have an effect. And it just comes along with practicing mindfulness and meditation over a long period of time. And it's especially helpful, even though it takes a while for people who have autism, because the thing is, people who have autistic brains, they're thinking all the time, and there's constant sensory influence that's influencing your everyday life. So it takes a while, but it's something that you should definitely investigate. Moving on to the second question, and this one also comes to us from Devin, and it's a pretty straightforward question. He asks, how do you feel about the media portraying autism? If only we could get more questions that are as short and succinct as that. Thank you, Devin. Not that I don't appreciate the long emails. It's just trying to respond to them during the live show in a constrained time frame is a little bit difficult. See, the thing is, as far as actual movies featuring autistic characters, I haven't seen that many, which I know is not. It's a big no-no for somebody who's trying to be autistic and in media. I haven't seen Rain Man. I haven't seen The Accountant. The closest thing that I recognize as a character or a personality in media that has autism, the closest thing to that is Drax the Destroyer from Guardians of the Galaxy. Have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy, John?
No, no.
Oh,
I've seen Rain Man.
you've seen Rain Man. Okay, well, you can talk about Rain Man in a second. I'll just speak to Drax the Destroyer quickly. As far as the personalities I've seen in media, I've seen people portray people with autism pretty favorably and pretty respectfully so far. Even with like a character like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, they gave him, even though his thinking and his way of action can be interpreted as annoying. The way I understand him is that he's written in a way where you understand why he is the way he is and that he can't help it, and he's still lovable, right? In respect to Drax the Destroyer, even though he has quirks where like he takes everything literally, he doesn't really express much in terms of emotion. He tends to be quite deadpan. He's quite a heroic character. Just trying to seek justice for his family who was murdered by Thanos. So those are two examples off the top of my head. So far, I'm pretty satisfied with the way things are, although people could probably cite examples where they probably haven't been respectful, and I encourage you to do so. Yeah, I know I need to see Rain Man. It's one of the greatest movies. John, did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it. It was a sensitive portrayal of this character and his characteristics. The media, or at least the filmmakers, will tend to be gracious because it would be suicide for them not to be. And also, it makes a heartwarming kind of story when you show sensitivity to differently wired or folk with different characteristics that are challenging to them. They tend to make good storylines, where justice prevails, that sort of thing. So I can't recall a portrayal of autism that was bad or nasty. There may be one, but I just don't recall it.
Okay. So, sorry, give me a second. I need to sneeze. Okay. Sorry about that. Um, sorry about that, guys. We need to. Okay, Chris. We're gonna have to skip your email for now because we're sort of running out of time. We will get to it next week. It's just unfortunately it was a little bit too long. I did need to sneeze. I just needed to sneeze while also skipping past that question. But we will do it next week. Right now, we're just going to conclude with Stefan's email. And Stefan writes, as far as Stefan goes, Stefan, I had to edit your email too because it was a little bit too long as well, but you gave me the permission to edit it, so I did. He writes, out of all of my friends, I was the first one to leave home at 21 and have my own apartment. And back then it was a real accomplishment, and I felt rather good about it. But now, 7 years later, I feel like Walter White from Breaking Bad. My life has stagnated. To quote Simon Pegg from The World's End, life never got better. Good movie. I have not been able to hold down a job long enough to feel welcome. I've seen my friends act up their autism for special treatments, and they get to be on TV, and the government gives them a huge apartment and lots of money to live on. Huh. Who are your friends? What are some of their names? Can you get me in contact? No, I'm kidding. Life really has turned into some joke of Breaking Bad. I've started to move my life along finally after some very good help from mentors at my Shorinji Kempo dojo, and I'm now studying to become an industry worker, but I am worried about my future. Studying is a problem all by itself, but I am worried about life stagnating again. What might you and John have in terms of advice for someone who is so stuck in his ways he still watches the same series over and over again and reads the same books over and over again? How do I not stop? How do I keep moving along with this life and keep motivating myself to do things and become things and not feel like everyone around me is just leaving me behind? And then he follows up with this. As for a third thing, I would like to just say that as a high functioning Aspergian, I have always been the one people turn to for help, even if I don't know the solution. And because of that, friends and family tend to only call me when they need help. Never want to take me to parties because I get weird in groups. Never go do stuff because they would rather go with their other friends. I have become the one person at the bottom of the to call list. One friend feels sad because I can fix his problems, but he can't fix mine. So it's not fair to him, but it doesn't matter to me if he is upset because I got my stuff in order. I would like some thought on that and to tell people something. If you have someone who helps you a lot, don't wait for them to need you. Sorry, I was just about to sneeze again. They maybe already do, and they would just like some company. And if you are one of those people who always helps others, don't be worried about going to do something every once in a while. Thank you, Max and John. Well, thank you very much, Stefan, for sending that in. Let me just bring up your first question again. Um, as far as avoiding stagnation goes, John, do you want to just address that for a second?
Yes, I do. I'd love to address that. Reading the same book over and over again, watching the same series over and over again isn't stagnation. It's study. It's a safe place, but it's also learning new things. I've read Shogun, a big Japanese novel, like 12 times. Every time I read it, I find something new. And when I read it, I'm looking forward to that part where this happens or that part where this happens. I don't see anything wrong with that. That's fine. Nothing to worry about there. If you like watching something a number of times, like who hasn't watched Dexter a couple of times or Mad Men or something like that? These things, these are works of art, moving art that are worth studying. I mean, you don't go and see the Mona Lisa. Oh, take a picture, gone, it's over. No, you can look at it again and again. That's fine. That's not an indication of life stagnant. The other thing I wanted to mention is part of the next paragraph. This business of the dojo of doing kempo, fantastic. Go for that. Keep going with that. That gives you a sense of control of your life. It gives you focus and steadiness. The martial arts, whatever version you take, is good for your mind. Now, the third thing I wanted to mention, and we've talked about this now 2 or 3 times, is 7 Cups. Since the last time I went on 7 Cups, I looked at it, it's fabulous. It's like 7 Cups. If you sign on as a listener, it gives you in a half an hour the whole course on how to coach. It's beautiful.
Mm.
So if you, Stefan, are interested in helping people, why not explore that? Go with it And I'd say, Max, the 7 cups things that you brought would be fabulous for that. I think it's an exciting opportunity for you to to exploit your talents and enjoy yourself doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, sevencups.com has been an immense help for me. I really recommend everybody here that if you're ever at a point where you really, really need to talk to somebody and nobody is immediately around to talk to you, just go to sevencups.com. They're very helpful. They'll listen to what you have to say. They might help you find resources as well. And they're even therapists that you can pay to, or like I think there are free trials too, but you can pay them also to speak to if, at the drop of a hat. And as far as enjoying the same thing over and over again, listen, dude, I I have been studying Metal Gear Solid ever since I was 6. Okay, I must have played. Going back to the whole topic of video game addiction, God, of all the Metal Gear Solid campaigns, I must have played them collectively over 100 times. Like Metal Gear Solid 1, if you're taking the Twin Snakes and the PS1 version, I must have played that over 30 times. It's because, like John said, with that Japanese novel Shogun, which I heard is also pretty good, there are layers that you continue to uncover over many, many years, ways that you can find to newly appreciate a work of art. And that's what makes the greatest works of art, is that you can constantly find new things to appreciate about them and uncover about them. That's why I do these videos on my channel. Like there's one that I recently did called Anna Maria, the Academic Value of Silent Hill. And I analyzed a character named Maria from a game called Silent Hill 2, which was a game that came out in 2001. And everybody seems to agree that I uncovered something about that game that nobody else seemed to have noticed, which is that Maria is a reflection of the Jungian archetype of the anima. And Maria was the anima of the main character, James. So go check that out if you're interested in that sort of thing. But yeah, if as far as, just stepping, if you want to look for new experiences, the best thing that I could recommend is that you find somebody that you can talk about your tastes with, whether that's me. You can send me an email telling me what books or movies that you like. And somebody can recommend to you, hey, if you like that, you'll definitely like this. And just push yourself to engage with it, even if it's for only 10 minutes, whether it's a book or a movie or a game. Just give it a chance. And then if it doesn't capture your attention right away, move on to the next thing. Just always try to be open to those small new experiences. And then those things can build incrementally. Anyways, we got to move on because we're running out of time here. We got to move on to the final segment of the show, which is the call-in segment. So I was mentioning the perks of joining up in my Discord server. One of the things that you can do is that if you join my Discord server, you can talk to John and I directly. So what I'm going to do right now, I have 3 people on the waiting list. Well, actually 4, but I have to bring him into the call still because he was a little bit late. Who did we agree was going to be unmuted first? So first of all, we got Stranded 360. Stranded, is that how you would like us to refer to you?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
What'd you want to talk about?
So you guys were talking about video games, action. I was addicted to RPG when I started playing it when I was in elementary.
Oh, which one?
It's called Tibia.
Oh, I've never heard of it. What type of game is it?
It's an RPG, online RPG.
John, RPG, in case you don't know, is role-playing game.
Oh,
like,
okay.
All right. So it's like WoW before that ever existed.
Oh, really? Okay.
One of the first ones to exist, and so you would collect loot, and you could kill other players, and you'd have guilds. You'd have sorcerer, druid, and paladin. Those are the 4 vocations.
Right.
And then you would kill monsters, and I don't know. I just got hooked on it when I was a kid, and I played it for years and years. And I would I wouldn't sleep. I would sneak down onto my computer. He'd wake up and get mad at me, like, "What are you doing on the computer?"
And you'd be like, "You don't understand."
Yeah. I have to get the loot.
I need to get a green drop, man. No, I mean a blue drop. No, I mean a purple drop, because purple drops are the best. And then when I get the purple drop, I can finally get the respect from my guild members that I deserve, man. You don't know how much time I put into this. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned Destiny, and I was addicted to that when it came out. Not so much Destiny 2. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Getting older, like the more time you put into it, it's going to be to tear away. And then
So you managed to overcome some of the video game addiction?
yeah, definitely.
Oh, good. So how did you manage to do that?
I managed to do that.
Take your time, man.
My other is speakers and stereo equipment, so I guess I just switched my interests and followed that.
Right. So you naturally just turned to that, and you just sort of forgot about video games. Well, not forgot, but
not entirely. Yeah.
Right, but like it just, the need to play them just sort of evaporated. Right.
I guess I just found I had to find something else that I was interested in. Otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. If I was just drop it, I'd just still be obsessed with it and come back to it.
Right.
But I need to find another interest to drop it.
Yeah, that's a key principle. Nobody can push you out. You take yourself out because something else fills that void.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. It's like when it comes to my addiction to video games, up until recently, I did play a lot of video games every day. The last game that I remember playing so much, where it just take up my entire day, was Grand Theft Auto 5, and which was sort of a mistake. But thankfully, I learned from it, because when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, and Red Dead Redemption 2 comes from the same company as Grand Theft Auto 5, when the online portion for that game came out, I was like, nope, I'm not dealing with this BS again. I'm not dealing with these children that don't know how to play the game and constantly make me lose missions and waste my time. So instead, what I do now, instead of dedicating all my time to playing games just for basic entertainment, I took my love of games and my love of stories in games and transfigured it and put it into videos on the internet. And so far, people tend to enjoy them. Now, that's not the only thing that I do. Obviously, I have my job outside of the stuff that I do on YouTube, which is quite meaningful. And I also do this stuff where I get to talk to people and try to help people who have autism. So I'm glad to hear that you... Sorry, what?
I did have one question for your friend.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
You recommend that the parachute book? What color is your parachute? Any other advice for people just seeking a new direction and inspiration for employment?
That's one of the best sources if you want to take charge of your transition from one kind of a life you're living to another. That's a beautiful book. The other thing you can do is talk to people in the industry or the work that you are attracted to. In other words, you can go and ask them stuff, ask them what their thing is like, go to their shows, go to their place of business, find out who's doing stuff that vaguely interests you or interests you a great deal, and talk to people who are actually doing it. That'll give you a kind of insight to the industry, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, I found that's helped me quite a lot in the past as well. Normally, whoever you go to talk to, they're very enthusiastic and willing to help you. And even if they can't do it right away, they'll set up a time.
Yeah.
That sounds good?
It's gracious. It's kind of a compliment to them. So, when you say, I want your advice, it means you're giving them a compliment.
Yeah.
They usually will be kind.
Yeah, it's like, we consider you competent, and we know how uncompetent. A
Yeah.
lot of other people tend to be within any given field, so good for you.
Hmm.
Anyways, Straight, hopefully, unfortunately, we got to move on. But thank you so much for calling in, and don't feel like you can't sign up again once we do the next show. Well, we'd love to hear from you again, or if you want to send us an email, that'd be good too.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks for coming on, dude. We really appreciate it. All right. Anyways, let's. You're muted now. Let's move on to the next caller, and the next caller has actually emailed us in the past. He goes by the name Eat My Slamwich. Slamwich, you're unmuted.
Okay, so to start off, I guess you can first refer to either, well, people that wouldn't know me would refer to me as Slams. Um, uh, Otherwise, my real name is Stephen, if you prefer that. But
Can I call you Bob? Because Bob is just, it's a mental thing, you know. I just
sure, why not?
no, I'm kidding. I'll call you Slams, man.
Yeah, no. I guess, well, what I was gonna discuss is kind of unique to the what we're talking now about the whole gaming addiction thing. I particularly had problems because it's kind of like I find it very hard to relieve stress without it.
Yeah.
Like I had a hard upbringing, so like how could you say this? Like I started to have problems when I was basically going up to my leaving cert, which in Ireland is basically what you need to get in good grades to get in college. And alright, it'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah, take your time, man.
So, and this ultimately caused problems with my parents.
Yeah.
My parents were, well, to kind of begin when I was young, they were overly strict about it. And, you know, I could only play so much and stuff like that. And I had trouble socially getting on in college and stuff like that. So, I found it increasingly, I'm not very, how could you say this? I had a lot of learning disabilities, and I found secondary school very difficult in the sense of that I just got so stressed that now I did do other sports like rugby and stuff, but I started to what? Still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry, it's just some Discord sound made. Anyway, but anyway, the problem was that it's kind of discussing what John kind of discussed earlier. The problem is we had trouble getting rid of the gaming addiction. Well, to be fair, it's a part of it under. I don't know if I can exactly call it a gaming addiction because I basically have an addiction. I'm basically have an addiction to being happy in the sense that I would just I need to constantly find something I'm interested, like TV or books or stuff like that, and I would just consume it. And it now a lot of that was sorry, just forgetting here. Anyway, to get to the point, okay. I just, it's kind of, see, the problem is with the whole game, in my case, I couldn't handle the stress, particularly when I was in college, because, and I don't think anyone could have handled the stress, in fairness. Like, I was working, besides when I played, I was working pretty much all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of had a situation where my parents were kind of trying to push me to get rid of my gaming addiction, but the problem is that unless it's the source of the problem, then it's not going to solve it. All right.
Right.
Like if someone drank alcohol and if they had a terrible life, just because they give up alcohol may not necessarily mean they'll have a good one. You get my meaning?
You know, you're making a solid point, Slam. I'm thinking as you're talking about this difficulty, thinking of a person, the ship sinks and he's on a raft. Okay, you're on a raft in the middle of the ocean, sharks everywhere. A raft is not the perfect vessel, but that's what you need right now to get you to
Yeah.
keep yourself safe. And it sounds to me like you're using games because you needed to use the games.
Well, all right. In fairness, I just thought I'll talk about this because it more help the viewers. The problem is it's not as bad as it is now.
Okay.
But it's in fairness, I did do a lot of. It's not solely the thing. I did do a lot of drama and stuff like that. It's just ultimately when I had trouble handling it, and if I didn't do it, there would be cases where I would get angry with my parents or my brothers or stuff like that. So it's a controlled release in a sense.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I totally share the same experiences with you as far as getting angry with my parents or my family when it came to video game addiction. Yeah, let me ask what you're like as far as where you are in your life right now. Like, how many hours a
Oh.
day would you say you play games?
God.
Just a rough estimate.
So 4 or 5 hours. I used to play 4 or 5 hours a day.
Mhm.
Probably 3 or 4 now.
Okay, so
Right.
that's good. But it's a step down. So
Yeah.
yeah. See, as far as games goes, I totally share your sentiment as far as having it be an escape from the chaos around you, where you can
Yeah.
find a place where you can be at peace with your own mind, and that's something. As far as video games go, it can actually be used as a positive resource, and it doesn't always have to devolve into addiction, and it doesn't have to be viewed in a negative light, because video games have helped me immensely in that regard. So as long as you see them in that way and you don't rely on them entirely to elevate you out of whatever miseries might be plaguing you at that particular moment, just as long as you have something outside of games that can give you enough sustaining meaning so that you don't completely lose your mind when you're not away from games, that's a step up. Does that make sense?
I do. Well, I don't know if it's exactly that simple. It's just
No, it's not that simple.
I would.
Obviously.
Yeah.
See, what I would sorry to interrupt you, man.
Yeah, it's fine.
What I would recommend, because you did this in the past, if I'm not mistaken, you sent in an email and we read it online. What I would recommend is that, like you said, it's not that easy. There's a lot of different elements involved in why people become addicted to video games and how to manage that. What I would recommend that you do, because we're almost at the top of the hour, please send in another email detailing to us your particular experiences. And then once we have a better idea of what's going on, we can provide you better resources or better advice in regards to dealing with video game addiction.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really sorry to cut you off because I know you have a lot to say, and I really, really want to hear it. It's just unfortunately we're about to run out of time, and we have other people that are waiting. So thank you so much, Slamwich. Feel free to sign up again at any time.
Okay.
We'd love to hear from you. Okay.
I'll see you around.
All right. See you around. All right. So, Max Stankley, I'm sorry to do this to you, man, but because it's almost 8:00, we're going to have to. We can't have you on this particular show tonight. but we will prioritize you. We'll make sure that you're at the top of the list for next week. Hopefully that's okay. Right now, I'm just going to unmute Harry, and then he'll be the last person we talk to before we end the show. John, if you need to leave, I totally understand. Okay. Harry, you're unmuted. Say hello.
Hi, Dustin. Can you hear me good?
What's your name?
Harry. My actual name, you mean?
Oh, sorry. Like, I heard you say Dustin.
No, I said testing.
Oh, testing. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying testing. I'm sorry.
It's okay, dude. How's it going?
Partly the confusion because I believe I'm your first known English speaker native. I'm actually, my native language is Spanish, so I'm sorry about my accent.
That's okay.
And I'm doing good, thank you.
All right, it's really good to have you. I know you said in the chat that your first language is Spanish. Unfortunately, I don't know how to speak much Spanish, but
Don't worry.
I do know how to say one phrase in Spanish. I think it was the name of like a Spanish soap opera, and I only know this because my ex-girlfriend was very fluent in Spanish and watched those. It was called Las Tontas no Van al Cielo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Does that make sense?
I don't know it. Nah.
I think
I'm sorry, I guess you like. I guess.
What?
I guess you like while you were saying it. I couldn't understand you very well.
You couldn't understand?
No. I couldn't understand the name. I believe you were lagging when you were saying it.
Oh, anyways, Las Tontas no van al cielo, which I believe translates to dumb.
Okay, las tontas no van al cielo. The dumb don't go through heaven.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. Dumb girls don't go to heaven. That's the name of the soap opera. Anyways, I don't know why she watched that. Anyways, so Harry, what's going on, man? What do you want to talk about?
Well, pretty good. I was also. I mean, when I saw what was going on tonight, I was thrown in to participate because I was also game addicted.
Right
I
on.
can say.
Mhm.
I was addicted to a roleplay game too, unless it's not that type of roleplay game. This guy, the last guy, I don't remember the name, was playing. I
Oh.
was addicted to a real life roleplay game.
Oh, which one was that?
It was based on GTA San Andreas and then GTA 5.
Oh, you were playing. Oh, GTA 5.
Yeah,
Oh,
GTA
okay.
San Andreas and then GTA 5.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, San Andreas much better than GTA 5. Just saying.
That's preference for everybody.
Hey, Grove Street for life, baby. Anyways, go on.
Oh, well. Eventually, I just got tired of playing. That's something that usually happens. It was pretty fun because like 2 or 3 years ago, I couldn't imagine me not playing that game, and now it's just like I don't want to play it anymore. Like I just got disgusted about the game, and I even got disgusted about playing in general. I mean, the only game I play right now is CS:GO, and sometimes Apex, and sometimes GTA 5. But I just don't play too much as before.
Is it just because like you found something else that captured your interest, and because hyper focus tends to be a symptom of AS, you found yourself just saying, video games aren't my thing anymore?
Nice, because I don't feel good playing video games anymore.
Oh, so it's just sort of like I've kind of grown out of it.
Nice. Yeah, partly.
Okay.
It's a feeling that I partly feel like I should be doing something else for my life, like for example, getting a job.
There's a concept.
Uh-huh.
What a wonderful concept.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And yeah, I got a bachelor in mechanical engineering.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're doing better than I am.
But it's been pretty hard to look for a job. But yeah, sometimes I like to play sometimes, but when I'm playing, I feel that guilt growing inside me, like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing something else. Like, that's why I don't play too much anymore.
Yeah, it's sort of the same thing for me. Like whenever over the last couple of weeks, I've been playing a lot of Metal Gear Solid 2 again because keep this on the DL, but I might be streaming some of it this coming Sunday. Shh. That's why I've been playing it a lot. But what I found while I've been playing it, just sort of prepping for doing a stream, it's like, okay, I have other stuff that I really need to get done that I have on my list of stuff to do that isn't getting done as I'm playing this. And then when that happens, it's like the guilt becomes not overwhelming, but it just gets to a point where I just like put down the controller, I'm done, you move away from it. And that's essentially basically what I encourage everybody that considers themselves addicted to video games to try and pursue. And one way you can go about doing that is trying a whole bunch of different things for just 10 minutes, like I was just saying to Slam. Or not Slam. Who was it? K. Chris. No, Stefan B. Sorry. That just we were talking about in the mailbag. And I just lost my train of thought. Sorry about that.
The thing that happens is that I don't actually get things done. I just get too anxious thinking about, oh, I should be doing this, and I don't actually get it done. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, especially when
something that Max just said though struck a chord, and that is the short period of time away from the game or doing some other thing. So when you feel like, oh, I should be doing something else, you may not have to spend a long time doing that other thing. You might just sort of open the door to that other thing to allow yourself to switch gears.
Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds good.
Yeah,
it could be short.
John?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It can be a short change, and it'll help you instead of moving from shame or guilt or bad feeling. You're saying, oh, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of this other thing, like the resume, the job, the looking up or whatever, and that sort of changes your mindset.
Mm-hmm. Although I gotta say, Harry, as far as GTA 5 goes, I don't know how you can play that game in short bursts because it takes you like 40 hours to be able to get enough money to be able to buy a frickin' yacht in that game, which is, I sunk so many hours into GTA 5, man. I should show you guys the stuff that I own and my profile. Never again.
I don't play GTA 5 online. I play GTA 5
single player.
There's a software called GTMP, which is Grand Theft Multiplayer, which is the application I play role playing.
Oh.
I play role play simulator. Is a real life simulator actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't play GTA 5 online.
Okay, well, you're a smarter, wiser man than I am, so good for you. Because oh man, like GTA, when that game came out, that my entire life was lost. It's so much fun and so addictive.
But yeah, that's partly as I said before, that's partly the reason I left. I quit gaming because I was having that guilt sensation growing inside me. That actually wouldn't let me even think what to do right now. Or I would stay rolling around the bed until 2 or 3 in the morning, thinking that I should be doing something else. But the next morning, that feeling was gone, and I didn't do anything.
It's kind of weird how that works for people with AS. I'm assuming you have AS too, right?
Yeah, I have AS.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I find that interesting because, like, what you just said there is similar to my experience with World of Warcraft. It just gets to a point where it's like, okay, this is going to kill me. I have to stop, and I just stop. I wonder if that's more consistent beyond just you and I, but with all people that are gamers that also have autism. I'd be really curious to hear from you guys in the comment section below if that's the case for you as well. Anyways, we've gone a bit over time, so we unfortunately have to end the call. But thank you so much for calling in, Harry. We loved hearing your perspective on this. But before you go, just quickly, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Colombia. I'm from a city called Barranquilla. Do you know the singer Shakira?
No, unfortunately I don't. I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Yeah, but I know Colombia.
Sofia Vergara.
Oh, I know Sofia Vergara, obviously.
Yeah. Well, she's from the same city that I am from.
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool.
I usually have to tell that reference because when I say my city, they're all like, "What is that?"
Oh yeah, you know the really really hot Colombian chick that everybody in Hollywood knows. Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you all. I always like to tune you out. I always like to watch your streams when you're doing the different Wired. And I'm also a fan of John. Thank you, John, for doing this.
Thank you.
All right, no, dude, thanks so much for calling in, and we really appreciate the support that you give us. Honestly, just being able to. I'm really glad that we added this segment and just being able to actually talk to people directly. It gives a more sustained meaning to the stuff that we do. So please, Harry, continue to call back in the future if you want to talk about stuff. We'd love
Yeah.
having you on.
And before we went this, I'd like to thank you all. I'd like to thank you for the videos you make. Your videos actually make me to understand more what is going on with me. And yeah, they were pretty helpful.
Well, mucho gracias. I think I said.
Es muchas gracias. Y yo digo a la orden.
All right, cool. Thanks, dude. All right, so we're gonna mute you. Thanks again, Harry, for that. And right now we have to end the show. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking around with us towards the very end of the show. Before we go, we just have the usual house cleaning stuff that we have to do. First of all, let me just bring this up. If you have a question that you want to have submitted on the show and read on the show by John and I, you can email it to us by the email that you see on the screen right now, maxdarrett@yahoo.ca. Or if you want to do Twitter, send a live question in on Twitter. Unfortunately, we ran out of time, but we will read Twitter questions next week, I promise. Just use the hashtag differentlywired. You see that on screen right now. Also, if you want to support this show, you can do so two ways. One is financially, the other one is non-financially. If you want to support us financially, there is a PayPal link in the description box below. We appreciate anything that you donate to us, and trust me when I say that it all goes back to the show and investing in the show. We will be setting up something Patreon-like in the future. I'm still contemplating whether or not I should set up a Subscribestar account. Let me know if that'd be something you guys would be interested in me setting up, and whether or not you would donate. It'll give me a better barometer of whether or not I should go along with it. Otherwise, something will be set up along those lines in the future. If you can't support us financially, that's totally, totally cool. But the most important thing that you guys can do to help us out, and you can do this right now, just hit the like button on this stream. It's right there. It's free. You don't even have to think about it. Just do it. Just get like Nike and just do it. Or like Shia LaBeouf, whichever appeals to you more, whichever is less crazy. Just do it. Because when you do that, it tells the YouTube algorithm that our content is worth watching. It passes it around to a whole bunch more people, a lot of people that might need to hear it and might need somebody to talk to about their particular issues. And also, please share this video with somebody if they might be suffering with autism or mental health related problems. They might have a question they want to ask, and maybe we can help them. It's all about creating a helpful community, an understanding community. So far, we've been on that path. People have been very supportive, not just for the show, but to each other in the Discord and in the comment section. And we hope to continue that into the future. Before we go, John, thanks as always.
Thank you, Max.
Always been great help, and enjoy doing these shows. And until next Wednesday, when we do this again at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, have a lovely, lovely day.